Station Orbital 7 was busy that day. Thousands of aliens walked through its wide metal halls. They came from 100 different worlds. Some had scales, some had fur, some had skin that glowed in strange colors. They all moved together, buying things, selling things, and living their lives in the great floating city among the stars. Humans were new here. They had only joined the Galactic Council 5 years ago. Most aliens looked at them with curiosity. Some looked at them with fear. Earth was listed as a Class 7 death world. This meant it was a dangerous place. A place with storms, earthquakes, wild animals, and diseases. The fact that humans came from such a world made other species nervous. But humans tried to be friendly. They smiled. They learned alien languages. They brought their families to live on stations like Orbital 7. They wanted to show everyone that they were peaceful. Commander was one of these humans. He was 34 years old. He had short black hair and kind eyes. He worked as a diplomat, helping humans and aliens understand each other. He believed that peace was possible. He believed that all species could live together. On this day was walking through the market section of the station. The air smelled of strange foods and alien spices. Colorful lights hung above the shops. Music played from somewhere far away. Enjoyed these walks. They reminded him that the universe was big and beautiful. He stopped at a small shop to buy a gift for his niece back on Earth. The shopkeeper, a small blue creature with 4 arms, wrapped the toy in shiny paper, thanked him and continued walking. That was when he saw the little girl. Her name was, she was 6 years old. She had long black hair tied in 2 braids. She wore a yellow dress with small flowers on it. She was walking ahead of her mother, looking at everything with wide, excited eyes. Had never seen so many aliens before. Everything was new and amazing to her. She pointed at a creature with wings. She laughed at a robot carrying boxes. She spun around, trying to see everything at once. Her mother, a young woman named, called out to her, "Stay close, don't run too far." But was too excited. She didn't see where she was going. She bumped into someone. That someone was Officer. There were tall creatures with pale gray skin and large black eyes. They had been part of the Galactic Council for thousands of years. They believed they were better than everyone else. They looked down on younger species. They especially looked down on humans. Wore a military uniform with many medals. She was important, she was powerful, and she did not like being touched. When bumped into her leg, stopped. She looked down at the small human child. Her black eyes showed no warmth, only anger. "What is this?" said. Her voice was cold and sharp. Looked up at the tall alien. She was scared now. "I'm sorry," she said in her small voice. "I didn't see you." "You didn't see me," repeated. "You dirty little creature, you dare to touch me." Ran forward. Her face was pale with fear. "Please, officer, she's just a child. She didn't mean any harm. I'm so sorry." But was not listening. She raised her hand. Her long gray fingers curled into a fist. And she struck across the face. The little girl fell to the ground. She hit the metal floor hard. For a moment there was only silence. Then started to cry. Blood came from her nose. Her lip was cut. Her small body shook with sobs. The market went quiet. Hundreds of aliens stopped and stared. No one moved. No one said anything. Screamed and ran to her daughter. She held in her arms, crying with her. "My baby, my baby." Looked at them like they were insects. "Perhaps now you will teach your offspring to respect its betters," she said. Then she turned and began to walk away. She did not get far. Stepped in front of her. He had seen everything. He had watched the little girl bump into. He had watched strike a child. A 6-year-old human girl who had done nothing wrong. Something changed at that moment. Something deep and old. Something that came from a time when humans lived in caves and protected their young from wolves and lions. His hands shook. His jaw was tight. His eyes were no longer kind. "You struck a child," said. His voice was quiet, but it was not calm. Looked at him, she seemed confused. No one had ever blocked her path before. "Move aside, human. This does not concern you." "She is 6 years old," said. "She bumped into you by accident, and you struck her." "She needed to learn respect," said. "All humans need to learn respect. You are new to this galaxy. You do not understand how things work. We have been here for 10,000 years. You have been here for 5. Know your place." Did not move. "I am going to report this to the council." Laughed. It was a cold, ugly sound. "The council? You think the council cares about one human child? You think they will punish me? I am officer of the fleet. My family has served the council since before your species learned to make fire." She pushed past him and walked away. Stood there for a long time. He watched her go. Then he turned and walked to where was Holding. He knelt down beside them. "Is she okay?" he asked softly. Looked at him with tears in her eyes. "She's hurt, she's scared, but she will live." Looked at its face, at the blood, at the bruise already forming on her cheek, at the fear in her young eyes. He thought about his own niece back on Earth. She was the same age as. He thought about all the times humans had tried to be peaceful, all the times they had smiled and bowed and tried to fit in, all the times they had been treated like they were less, like they were nothing. He made a decision. "I promise you," he said to, "there will be justice for this. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I promise you." Looked at him, she wanted to believe him, but she had seen how the galaxy worked. The strong did what they wanted. The weak suffered. That was the way of things. Stood up. He took out his communication device and called his office. "This is Commander. I need to file an official complaint with the Galactic Council. Yes, right now. Yes, it's urgent." He looked one more time at, crying in her mother's arms. Then he walked away to begin his fight. He did not know yet how hard that fight would be. He did not know that the council would ignore him. He did not know that would laugh at his complaints. He did not know that in the end, words would not be enough. But he would learn. And when he did, the galaxy would learn something too. They would learn why Earth was called a death world. The Galactic Council met in a building at the center of the station. It was a massive place, built from white stone and shining metal. Giant pillars held up a ceiling that seemed to touch the stars. Flags from 1,000 worlds hung on the walls. This was where the most powerful beings in the galaxy came to make decisions. Stood outside the great doors, waiting for his turn to speak. He had been waiting for 3 days. 3 days of filling out forms. 3 days of talking to assistants. 3 days of being told to wait, to be patient, to follow the proper procedures. During those 3 days had been taken to a human medical center. Her nose was broken. She had a concussion. The doctors said she would heal, but she woke up screaming every night. She saw his face in her dreams. Thought about this as he waited. He thought about how a little girl was afraid to sleep because of what had been done to her. He thought about how her mother had not stopped crying since that day. Finally, the great doors opened. A robotic voice called his name. Walked into the council chamber. It was even bigger than he expected. Hundreds of seats rose up in circles around a central platform. Aliens of every shape and size filled those seats. They looked down at him like he was a small bug that had wandered into their home. At the top of the chamber sat the high speakers. There were 7 of them, each from a different powerful species. They wore robes of gold and silver. They held staffs that showed their authority. They were the most important beings in the known galaxy. One of them was a. Walked to the center platform. He stood straight. He kept his voice calm and clear. "High speakers," he said, "I come before you to demand justice. 3 days ago on Station Orbital 7, an officer named struck a human child. The child is 6 years old. She bumped into the officer by accident. For this small mistake, officer hit her in the face with a closed fist. The child suffered a broken nose and a concussion." He paused. He looked at the faces around him, trying to see if anyone cared. "I have evidence," continued. "Security cameras recorded the whole thing. Medical reports show the injuries. Witnesses saw what happened. I am asking the council to arrest Officer and put her on trial for assault." There was silence for a moment. Then the high speakers began to whisper to each other. Could not hear what they were saying, but he saw the looks on their faces. They seemed bored. Some seemed annoyed. Finally, the high speaker leaned forward. His name was, he was old even by standards. His gray skin was wrinkled. His black eyes were cold. "Commander," said, "we have reviewed your complaint. We have seen the evidence you provided." Felt a small hope. "Then you will arrest her." Made a sound that might have been a laugh. "No, we will not." The hope died. "Why not?" "Because," said slowly, as if explaining something to a child, "this matter is not important enough for the council. A minor injury to a human child does not require our attention. Officer is a decorated member of the fleet. She has served with honor for 50 years. We will not punish her for disciplining a creature that touched her without permission." Felt his hands shake. Disciplining, she attacked a child, a 6-year-old girl. "Human children are known to be poorly trained," another high speaker said. "This one was from a species called the. He had green scales and a long neck. Perhaps if your kind taught better manners, this would not have happened." "She did nothing wrong." His voice rose. He could not help it. "She bumped into someone by accident. Children do that. It is not a crime." "Perhaps not a crime on your world," said. "But you are not on your world. You are in council space. Here there are expectations of behavior. Your species is young. You have been part of the council for only 5 years. You do not yet understand our ways." "What I understand," said, "is that you are protecting a criminal because she is powerful and we are weak." The chamber went very quiet. Even the aliens who had not been paying attention turned to look. His black eyes narrowed. "Be careful, human. You are speaking to the High Council." "I am speaking the truth." "You are speaking like someone who wants to cause trouble." Stood up. His tall, gray body loomed over the chamber. "Let me explain something to you, Commander. They built this station. They built half the stations in this sector. Our ships protect the trade routes. Our soldiers keep the peace. What do humans do? You arrived 5 years ago with your primitive ships and your strange customs, and you asked to join us. We let you in out of kindness." "Kindness," repeated. "Yes, kindness. We could have ignored you. We could have left you alone on your little death world. But we welcomed you. And how do you thank us? By making accusations against our officers. By demanding that we punish our own people for keeping order." Stared at him. A child was hurt. "Children get hurt," said. "It teaches them to be more careful. Your species coddles its young too much. Perhaps this lesson will help the girl become stronger." Could not speak. The words stuck in his throat. He had come here believing in justice. He had believed that if he presented the evidence, if he made his case clearly, the council would do the right thing. He had been wrong. "Your complaint is dismissed," said. He sat back down. "You may go." Did not move. "I said you may go." "And if I don't accept this decision?" asked quietly. Tilted his head. "Then you will be removed, and your species will be noted as difficult to work with. Perhaps we will need to reconsider your place in the council." There it was, the threat. Behave or we will hurt all humans, accept injustice or face worse. Looked around the chamber one more time. Hundreds of faces looked back at him. Some showed pity. Most showed nothing at all. They did not care about one human child. They did not care about justice. They only cared about power. He turned and walked toward the door, but before he left he stopped. He looked back at. "You should know something about humans," said. "And what is that?" "We never forget, and we never stop." Made that cold, laughing sound again. "Is that supposed to be a threat?" "It's a warning." A warning from a young species that cannot even protect its own children. How frightening, waved his hand. Go back to your people, Commander. Tell them what happened here. Let them know that the Council has spoken, and tell them to teach their children better manners. Walked out of the chamber, the great doors closed behind him. He stood in the hallway for a long time. His hands were still shaking, but now it was not from anger alone, it was from something else, something colder, something more patient. He took out his communication device. He made a call. "This is Commander. I need to speak with Captain. Tell her it's urgent. Tell her." He paused. He thought about what he was about to do. He thought about what it would mean. "Tell her the Council said no, and tell her to start making preparations." He ended the call. Then he walked back to the human section of the station. He had a mother and daughter to visit. He had a promise to keep. The Council had made their choice. They thought they were safe. They thought humans were too weak to do anything. They thought would never face consequences. They were wrong. They just didn't know it yet. Captain sat in her office on the human military ship called the Iron Wake. She was a small woman, barely 5 feet tall, but everyone who knew her understood that her size meant nothing. She had served in the Earth Defense Force for 20 years. She had fought in wars that most people wanted to forget. She had done things that kept her awake at night. But she had never refused an order that she believed was right. Sat across from her. Between them was a table covered with papers and screens showing maps of the galaxy. "The Council rejected everything," said. His voice was tired. "They don't care about what did. They called it discipline. They said we should teach our children better manners." Was quiet for a moment. She had already heard this from his earlier call, but hearing it again made her feel the same cold anger. "What do you want to do?" she asked. "I want justice. The official kind, or the real kind." Looked at her. They had known each other for 10 years. They had worked together on many difficult missions. He trusted her more than anyone else in the galaxy. "The real kind," he said. Nodded slowly. "You understand what that means?" "Yes." "If we do this, there's no going back. Earth will not support us officially. The government will deny everything. We will be on our own." "I know." "The Council will be angry. They will want revenge. We might start something that our species cannot finish." "I know that too." Leaned back in her chair. She thought about. She had seen the photos of the little girl's injuries. She had read the medical reports. She had also read the Council's official response, dismissing the complaint as unimportant. "Tell me more about," she said. Pulled up a file on one of the screens. "Officer of the fleet, age 112 by their counting, which is about 50 by ours. She comes from an important family. Her father was a high speaker 50 years ago. Her mother controls a large shipping company. She has connections everywhere." "Where is she now?" "She left Station Orbital 2 days ago. Our sources say she went to the first. Then she moved to a military station in the sector. Then she disappeared." "She knows we're coming." "Maybe, or maybe she just doesn't want to deal with any more complaints. Either way, she's hiding." Smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Does she know what it means to be hunted by humans?" "I don't think so. I don't think any of them do." This was true. Most aliens knew that Earth was a death world. They knew it was a dangerous planet with harsh weather and deadly animals, but they did not understand what this meant. They did not understand what humans had gone through to survive. On Earth, humans were not the strongest. They were not the fastest. They did not have claws or fangs or poison. What they had was something else. They could run for hours without stopping. They could follow prey across mountains and deserts. They could track an animal for days, never resting, never giving up, until the animal was too tired to run anymore. This was called persistence hunting, and it was built into human blood. Understood this better than most. She had trained her soldiers to use this ancient instinct. She had taught them patience. She had taught them to never stop, never rest, until the mission was complete. Now she would put those skills to use. "I'll need a team," she said. "Volunteers only, people who understand the risk." "I already have some names," said. He handed her a list. Looked at the names. She knew most of them. They were soldiers, scouts, and specialists. They were people who had lost family members to alien violence, people who had watched the council ignore their pain, people who wanted justice. "Good choices," she said. "I'll talk to them tonight." She stood up and walked to the window. Outside, stars filled the darkness. Somewhere out there was hiding. She thought she was safe. She thought the council would protect her. She thought humans were too weak and scared to do anything. She was wrong. "How long do you think it will take?" asked. "To find her could be days, could be weeks, could be months. They have a large territory. They have many places to hide. And once we find her," turn to look at him, "that part will be faster." 2 days later, team gathered in a secret location on a small moon far from any council stations. There were 12 of them in total, 6 men and 6 women. They came from different countries on Earth, but here, among the stars, those differences did not matter. They were all human. That was enough. Stood before them in a simple room with gray walls. "You all know why we're here," she said. "An officer named struck a human child. The council refused to punish her. Our government cannot act without causing a war, so we are acting on our own." She let that sink in. "If you are caught, you will be arrested. If you are killed, there will be no rescue. If this goes wrong, you will be called criminals and terrorists. Your families may suffer. Your names may be erased from history." She looked at each of them. "Anyone who wants to leave can do so now. No shame, no questions." No one moved. "Good," pulled up a map on the wall screen. "Our first stop is the sector. That's the last place was seen. We'll start there and follow her trail." A young man named raised his hand. He was the team's tracker. He had grown up hunting deer in the mountains of Korea. Now he hunted other things. "How do we know she won't keep running?" "She will keep running," said. "That's what prey does, but here's the thing about running. It makes you tired, it makes you scared, it makes you make mistakes, and we will be there for every mistake she makes." A woman named Myra spoke up. She was the team's pilot. "What about patrols? Their military is watching that sector." "We'll be quiet. We'll move through places they don't watch. We'll be invisible," pointed at the map. "They think they control space, but space is big, very big. There are cracks and gaps everywhere. We'll move through those cracks." She turned off the map. "One more thing. Is not just a target, she's a symbol. When we take her, the galaxy will know that humans protect their children. They will know that hurting us has consequences. They will know that we never give up." The room was silent. Every face showed determination. "We leave in 6 hours. Get your gear. Say your prayers. Think about why you're doing this." The team left to prepare. Stayed in the room alone. She looked at a photo on her personal device. It showed a little girl smiling at the camera, not another girl's daughter. She had died 3 years ago on a human colony. An alien raider had attacked the settlement. The council had done nothing. The raiders had never been caught. Had not forgotten. She put the device away and began to check her weapons. The hunt was beginning. Had a head start. She had connections. She had resources. She had an entire empire protecting her. But she was being chased by humans. And humans never stopped. The hunt lasted 47 days. Ran from system to system, planet to planet, station to station. She used her family's money. She called in favors from powerful friends. She hired guards. She changed ships 5 times. She thought she was being clever. But everywhere she went, the humans followed. On day 3, arrived at a trading station in the sector. She stayed in an expensive hotel with armed guards outside her door. She felt safe. The next morning, she woke up to find a message written on her bathroom mirror. "We see you." She fled within the hour. On day 12, hid on a remote mining colony. It was a dark, dusty place where few people asked questions. She paid the miners to keep her location secret. 3 days later, a human walked into the colony's only bar. He sat down, ordered a drink, and smiled at the miners. He did not say anything threatening. He did not have to. The next morning was running again. On day 23, crossed into territory. She thought she would be safe here, protected by her own people. But even there she saw humans. A woman shopping in a market. A man repairing a ship at a dock. A young couple eating at a restaurant. They never approached her. They never spoke to her. But they were always there. Watching. Stopped sleeping. She stopped eating properly. She jumped at every sound. Her gray skin became pale. Her black eyes became red from lack of rest. She was coming apart. Her friends grew tired of helping her. "It's just one child," they said. "Why don't the humans forget about it?" They did not understand. They could not understand. To them, a human child was nothing. A small, weak creature from a primitive world, not worth this much trouble. But the humans did not see it that way. To humans, children were everything. They were the future. They were hope. They were the reason humans fought and worked and survived. Hurting a human child was not a small crime. It was the worst crime possible. Was beginning to understand this, but it was too late. On day 47, arrived at a place called Moon 7G. It was a fortress moon, built by the military hundreds of years ago. Thick walls, heavy guns, 50 trained soldiers, underground bunkers that could survive a nuclear attack. It was one of the safest places in space. Walked into the fortress and finally allowed herself to relax. There was no way the humans could reach her here. She had walls, she had weapons, she had an army. She was wrong. And her team arrived at Moon 7G on the same day. They did not land at the main entrance. They did not announce their presence. They came down on the dark side of the moon, where the sensors were weak, in a small ship painted black. The team moved across the surface in silence. They wore special suits that kept them warm in the freezing darkness. They carried weapons modified to work in low gravity. They communicated through hand signals and quiet clicks. The tracker led the way. He had followed trail across 3 star systems. He knew her habits now. He knew her fears. He knew exactly where she would go inside the fortress. "Main building, 3rd floor," he whispered. "She always picks a room near an exit. She thinks it makes her safer." Nodded. "Myra, how long until they notice us?" Myra checked her device. "Their patrol passes in 20 minutes. We have until then. Then we move fast." They reached the fortress wall. It was made of thick stone and metal, built to stop armies. But it had one weakness. The builders had never expected an enemy to come from below. A team member named placed a small device against the wall. It was a drill, designed to work silently. It cut through the stone in minutes, creating a hole just big enough for a person to crawl through. One by one, the humans entered the fortress. Inside, the hallways were dark. The saved power by keeping the lights low at night. This was a mistake. Humans could see well in the dark. Their eyes had evolved on a world where night predators were always a danger. The team moved through the hallways like ghosts. They avoided guards. They disabled cameras. They left no trace of their passing. Then they found the first soldier. He was young, standing at a doorway looking bored. He never saw coming. She grabbed him from behind, covered his mouth, and put him to sleep with a small needle. Quiet, clean, no alarms. They kept moving. More soldiers fell. Some were put to sleep. Some were tied up and hidden. A few tried to fight. They did not last long. Humans were smaller then, but they were faster. Stronger too, pound for pound. Earth's heavy gravity had made their muscles dense and powerful. In 11 minutes, 23 soldiers were down. Checked her team. Everyone was still standing. A few had small cuts or bruises, nothing serious. "3rd floor," she said. They climbed the stairs. This room was at the end of a long hallway. 2 guards stood outside her door. They were alert, nervous. They had heard the other soldiers stop reporting. They knew something was wrong. Did not give them time to act. She stepped around the corner and fired. 2 shots, 2 guards fell. The door was locked, placed a small explosive on the frame. Fire in the hole. The door blew open. Inside was standing by her bed, holding a weapon. Her black eyes were wide with fear. Her gray skin was almost white. She looked like she had aged 10 years in 47 days. "Stay back," she screamed. "I'll shoot, I'll kill you all." Walked into the room slowly. She was not afraid. She had faced worse than a scared officer. "Of the fleet," she said, "you are under arrest for crimes against humanity." "Under arrest? By what authority? This is territory. You have no right to be here." "We are not here by right," said. "We are here by choice." His hand shook. The weapon waved back and forth. "The Council will destroy you for this. They will burn your world. You are starting a war." Maybe took another step forward. "But you started it first. You hit a 6-year-old girl, you broke her nose, you made her afraid to sleep, and then you laughed about it. She touched me. She bumped into you, by accident, and for that you almost killed her." His mouth opened and closed. She had no answer. She had never thought about what she had done, not really. It had seemed so small at the time, so unimportant. "I'll offer you money," she said. "Anything you want, name your price." "Our price is your life." Fired. The shot went wide. Her hands were shaking too much to aim. Did not fire back. She did not need to. Behind, a window shattered. Came through it, dropping from the roof above. Before could turn, he had her weapon. Before she could scream, he had her on the ground. Walked over and looked down at her. "We chased you for 47 days, she said. "Across 3 star systems, through your territory and ours. We never stopped. We never rested. Do you know why?" Did not answer. She was crying now, her black eyes leaking strange tears. "Because that's what humans do. We don't give up. We don't forget. And we never let anyone hurt our children without consequences." She looked at. "Get her ready to move. We have a delivery to make." The team left the fortress the same way they entered. Behind them, 50 soldiers slowly woke up. They found their weapons missing. They found their officer gone. They found a message carved into the wall of the main hallway. They were here. And they were afraid. The Galactic Council was in emergency session. The great chamber was full. Every seat was taken. Diplomats, generals, and politicians from 100 worlds had come to see what would happen next. The news had spread quickly. A fortress had been attacked. 50 soldiers had been put to sleep like bobbies. An important officer had been taken, and the attackers had been human. They were furious. High Speaker stood at the center of the chamber, his tall gray body shaking with rage. "This is an act of war," he shouted. "Humans invaded our territory, they attacked our soldiers, they kidnapped one of our officers. The council must respond." Other voices joined his. The demanded punishment, the called for human ships to be destroyed, the suggested removing humans from the council entirely. But not everyone agreed. Some species had grown tired of arrogance. Some had heard about what had done to the child. Some simply wanted to see what the humans would do next. The chamber was filled with noise, arguments bouncing off the high walls. No one noticed the human delegate entering through the main doors. Commander walked slowly. His footsteps echoed on the stone floor. In his hands he carried a metal box. One by one the aliens stopped talking. They turned to look at him. The chamber grew silent. Walked to the center platform, the same place where he had stood weeks ago, begging for justice. He looked up at the high speakers. He looked at whose black eyes burned with hatred. "Commander," said, his voice was cold as ice. "You dare to show your face here, after what your kind has done?" Did not answer. He placed the metal box on the platform. It made a heavy sound. "What is that?" demanded. "Justice." Opened the box. Inside was head. The chamber exploded with noise. Aliens screamed. Some turned away in horror. Others stared with wide eyes. A few made sounds that might have been laughter quickly hidden. His gray face turned even paler. His hands gripped his staff so hard it looked like it might break. You murdered her," he whispered. "We executed her," corrected, "for her crimes against humanity. This is barbaric. This is savage. This is what we expect from Death World animals." Looked at him calmly. "You call us animals, you call us savages, you call us barbaric, but let me ask you something, High Speaker. What do you call someone who strikes a child? What do you call a society that protects that person? What do you call a council that laughs at the suffering of the innocent?" Had no answer. "I came to you weeks ago," continued. "I showed you evidence. I asked for justice. You told me to go away. You told me human children were not important. You told me that was too powerful to punish." He pointed at the box. "I told you that humans never forget. I told you that humans never stop. You laughed at me. You said we were too weak to do anything." He looked around the chamber at all the alien faces watching him. "Now you know the truth. We are not weak, we are patient. There is a difference." A voice came from the crowd. It was a delegate from a species called the. They were small, peaceful creatures who had often been bullied by larger races. "What message are the humans sending?" they asked. Turned to look at her. His eyes softened just a little. "The message is simple," he said. He turned back to the high speakers and his eyes became hard again. "Touch our children again. I dare you." The words hung in the air like a storm about to break. Found his voice. "The will not accept this. We will have revenge. We will." "You will do nothing," interrupted. "Nothing. We have 1,000 ships. We have armies. We will destroy your little world." "Go ahead and try," smiled, and it was not a friendly smile. "But remember what happened to. She had 50 soldiers. She had walls. She had weapons. And 12 humans walked through all of it like it was nothing." He took a step closer too. "Imagine what happens if you attack Earth. Imagine billions of humans, all of them angry, all of them patient, all of them coming for you. We will not meet you in battle. We will come in the night. We will come to your homes, your stations, your safe places. We will hunt you down one by one across every corner of the galaxy. It might take years. It might take decades. But we will find every single one of you." Opened his mouth, then closed it. For the first time in his long life, he had nothing to say. Turned to address the whole chamber. "We do not want war. We want to live in peace with all species. We want to trade, to learn, to grow together. But we will not be treated as less than others. We will not watch our children be hurt while the council does nothing. Those days are over." He picked up the box and closed it. "Was the first. We hope she will be the last. But that is up to you. Treat us with respect and we will do the same. Treat us like animals and we will show you what Death World animals can do." He turned and began to walk toward the door. "Wait," shouted. "You cannot just leave. You must answer for what you have done. You must be punished." Stopped, he did not turn around. "You are welcome to try to punish me, High Speaker, but I should warn you I have friends, patient friends, friends who never forget." He continued walking. No one tried to stop him. At the door he paused one more time. He looked back at the chamber full of aliens from across the galaxy. Some were angry, some were afraid, some looked at him with new respect. "One more thing," he said. "The girl hit. Her name is, she is 6 years old. She likes to play with dolls and eat ice cream and watch the stars. She is not a creature, she is not a pest. She is a child, a human child, and she matters." He walked out. The doors closed behind him. The chamber stayed silent for a long time. Weeks later, life in the galaxy had changed. The Council passed new laws protecting children of all species. Violence against any young being became a serious crime, punishable by the Council itself. They did not attack Earth. They did not seek revenge. They were too afraid of what might happen if they did. Humans were still new to the galaxy. They were still learning how things worked, but now everyone knew something important about them. They were from a death world. They were patient. They never forgot. And they protected their children at any cost. Recovered from her injuries, she grew up to become a diplomat. She worked to bring humans and aliens closer together. She still had nightmares sometimes about a tall gray figure hitting her, but she also had good dreams now, dreams of a galaxy where children were safe, where no one was too weak or too small to deserve justice. Her mother kept a small picture on her desk. It showed standing in the council chamber, speaking to the high speakers. She never told what was in the box he was holding. Some things were better not known. But every time she looked at that picture, she smiled. Justice had been served. The galaxy would remember. And somewhere in the great emptiness between the stars, Captain and her team flew on. They had done what needed to be done. Now they watched and waited, hoping they would never need to do it again. But ready if they did. Because that was what humans were. And they took care of their own.